welcome to a new episode on my channel. My name is Aude if you are new here, and I am coming to you from Edinburgh in Scotland, and this is a regular podcast episode. It has been a little while since my last podcast episode. Actually, it hasn't been too bad. It's been a month. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do at least once a month. I've been wondering about maybe doing an episode every 3 weeks, but then that would probably mean that I would show items like stuff like not finished or something. I don't know. I feel like maybe I don't knit fast enough for that. So anyway, I don't know why I'm saying this right now. Welcome if you are new here. I know a lot of you joined us after watching my what I made in 2023 video, as well as my 2024 knitting plans. So welcome. I hope you will enjoy this episode, and then welcome back to all the viewers who have been here for quite a while. I have some really fun things to show you today, including this. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. I really love this sweater. It's so nice. But yeah, a little bit of admin. I'm not really sure what there is to share. If you want to find me other places, I'm on Instagram and Ravelry at Bobbles Berries. I do my best to keep my Ravelry project pages up to date, and I really want to make sure I write more into the notes little section, just like notifications that I made and things like that, because this is something that I find very useful in other people's Ravelry project pages, so I would like to do the same. I haven't been so good at it, but I'm trying. And then yeah, I'm also on Instagram. What else? I'm currently running a KAL with Venetia of the Woolly Worker. It's called the Winter Set KAL, and the idea is to knit matching winter accessory sets. So I've talked about it in previous videos. There's a lot of you who've been knitting like beautiful sets already and sharing it over on Instagram, because this knit-along is being hosted on Instagram using some hashtags. So I'm going to put all the information to the side here if you want to participate. It's been really fun so far, and it runs until spring, so like 20th of March, and then we'll draw winners and give away prizes. And yeah, it's been really fun so far. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm not sure if there's much about the shop that I need to say, so I think I'll just, if I think of something, I'll just say it at the end of the episode. But yeah, let's just jump into the knitting, starting with my first finished object that I would like to show you today and what I am wearing. And so I think back in December, the last time I filmed at the end of December, I was knitting on this already. I don't know if I started the color work, I'm not very sure, but it's all finished now, and I'm going to stand up to show you what it looks like. So I may put some pictures here. This is the Rhue sweater by Rebecca Clow of the Creabea. This is a test knit, so this video should go up on Wednesday the 31st of January, and the pattern should be released that next Friday, so the 2nd of February. And yeah, I love it. The reason I said I might put some photos here is that I was invited to take part in the photo shoot for the pattern picture. Rebecca always works with a professional photographer to have her pattern, like her nice pictures taken to put into the pattern, and she usually invites people who are like test knitters who are in Edinburgh and the Edinburgh area. And so I was invited to do that, and we did this at the weekend. And if I get the photos back before I need to upload this, I will share them here. And if not, they will be on my Instagram. They will be, I'm sure Rebecca will share a lot of them. So yeah, but you've seen it on me, you've seen the real thing. So yeah, I love this sweater so much. Let me just go through the details. I have my notes right here. So like I said, the designer of this pattern is Rebecca Clow of the Creabea. It's my second time test knitting for her. I test knitted the stick season sweater in the autumn, and I really, really enjoy it. The test knits, like her test knits are really, really nice. I really, really enjoy them. And she's definitely a designer that I would test for in the future as well. I haven't applied to her latest test call just because while beautiful, the pattern that she has currently in testing is maybe not something that I feel like I would knit on right now. Probably in the future, but just not right now, so I didn't apply for that. But if and when she comes out with a pattern that I really enjoy and want to knit right away, then I will definitely apply for test knit. I know it's going to go really well, I know it's going to be really fun, and so yeah, highly recommend test knitting for her if you want to. The yarn that I use, so it's two-color color work, as you can see. So I used the green is a Jamieson & Smith cone that I had in stash, all the yarn I had in stash already, which is really nice. So it's a Jamieson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight there, normal fingering weight yarn that I bought on a cone, and the shade is FC12. I really like the FC shade. They're a bit, like they have a nice depth. Let me see if I can show you, if you can see. I'm not sure it's gonna focus. I don't know if it focused or not, I can't really see myself. But yeah, it's green, but it's got like bits of yellow and orange, and it looks amazing, especially in the sun, you know. So this is what I used for the green, and for the beige, I used this cone that I talk about all the time. It's a cone from Laine Paysanne, which is a French brand of yarn, in the shade grayish, and it was a 1 kilo cone, and so I've used a bunch for this. I mean, not actually it's that much. I think I used about between 200 and 250 grams of the beige, and I used it a little bit in another sweater, so I still have more than enough to make. I could make a full jumper out of that yarn and still have quite a bit left. But yeah, I held those two yarns double throughout the whole project, because it is a project that is knit up on like a DK gauge, although a lot of us used yarn that were more like heavy DK, and that worked really well. So yeah, I held those yarn double. It was fine. I was a bit concerned at first. Like, I'm quite new to color work, as you may know. This is my second color work project, and the first one that I made was a hat, so obviously I'm working with like much larger circumferences. Also, the hat that I made was like full color work, so there was no, like, I didn't have to deal with like the gauge on the like solid parts and the gauge on the color work part and everything. But yeah, all that to say that I was a bit concerned that with all those new things for me, managing color work with yarn held double would be difficult, but it really wasn't. It was fine. I knit the size 3. The size range is really good. And yeah, the construction of this is, I think it's called a contiguous construction. Basically, I don't know if you can see, you've got like a kind of like a saddle shoulder bit at the top, and then you go and do sort of like a sort of raglan down here, and then also raglan down to go to the underarm. It's top down. You start knitting like the back and then the two fronts, and you join, and then you pick up, then you do your color work, and then you do the neckline afterwards. And yeah, so like I said, this is my first color work jumper. I knew before, I knew that I wanted to apply for that test call when it was going to come up. I've been looking at that pattern on Rebecca's social media ever since she started sharing it, and I absolutely loved it, and I was like, this is definitely what I'm going to apply for. And when I went to Oslo back in December, I bought some yarn specifically for that sweater, whether I got into the testing or not. Like, I would have done it later. And unfortunately, the yarn that I bought it didn't work. It was a DK, but it was a bit too thin, and yeah, it wasn't the right yarn for this project. It gave me too much of a like lightweight, airy fabric, like too drapey. Not like, I wanted something like nice and dense and squishy, and yeah, it was just not working. Thankfully, I had this in my stash, and that is working so well. And I have since found, I think, another potential use for the yarn that I originally bought. Is Norwegian yarn, and I think it would work really well for the alder sweater that is also by Rebecca, and I think I have enough, so that is very exciting. In terms of working color work. So like I said, this is my very first color work jumper. This is my second color work project, and this is very different from the first one that I did. The first one I did was like a Fair Isle hat from my husband. It was smaller circumference, and it was also a lot of colors and a lot of detailed like patterns or like designs on it, and so there was no float catching or anything like that. This one, it was a great learning experience because first of all I had to learn to I had to figure out my tension between working solid color and working color work, and as with many people I think I am also I also need to go up half a needle size for my color work to match my like solid bit tension. So that was good. Thankfully it was like quite easy. It was one of the first things that I tried when I figured out that my tension using the same needle wouldn't work, and thankfully it worked for me. So that was good, and now I know. And then also I learned for this to catch floats, so a little bit at the top of this motif here, not so much here but especially like here as well. I love this like central bit, I think it's so nice, and then at the bottom here. And it was very interesting for me because I knit continental and I knit color work continental, so I have my 2 strands of yarn on the same finger, which for me is my right finger because I'm left-handed. And so with this way of knitting I had to learn how to catch my floats when I had to catch the like the dominant color or when I had to catch the contrast color. So how do like the beige was always my dominant my dominant color and my contrast color, I guess, and then the green was always my main color, so my background color. But like in these bits here I had to catch the beige behind the green, but then in these bits here I had to catch the green behind the beige, and so the two are like on different, like I don't know how to explain. Well, like they're always, one is the main color and one is the contrast color, and they're on different places on my finger, and so you catch them differently. Obviously you know that if you do color work. I'm not like, but yeah, so that was really good learning experience for me to know how to do it both ways. So that was great. I think that was the main things that I learned. I also learned because here obviously for the body and the chest you are working on quite a large circumference, but then on the sleeves you are working on a smaller circumference. I know, and I work the sleeves on like small circumference needles, not magic loop, not DPN, just the small circumference needles. And I've got yarn. I know that when I knit like solid color, my gauge is the same, like whether I'm on large needles or like on the body and on small circumference, my gauge is the same, my tension is the same, so that's not a problem. I was hoping that it would be the same for color work as well, and it was, so that was great, because I know in some cases when you go into a smaller circumference, your tension is a bit different, obviously because the needles are smaller and all of that, and so you need to adjust your needle size. That wasn't the case for me, so that was great. Very happy to find that out, because that's something else. That's something less that I need to remember. And it was really fun. I made a few modifications, and I will have those in my Ravelry page. It was a very interesting test knit, because it is quite because of the nature of that construction, that contiguous construction, it is fairly fitted at the shoulder. It's not like a raglan where there's plenty of space and you have a lot of wiggle room, and it's also not like a drop shoulder where you just have like literally like a big drop shoulder. It's not, you don't have to be as careful. Here, like, fit is something that you need to really pay attention to. And so there was a lot of talk in the test group, in the chat, of like people were like, oh, I can't get it to fit here, but here it's fine, and like a lot of things. And I think it's gonna be like a lot more discussion, and so I think that's gonna make it a very, very good pattern, in that a lot of people had different experiences knitting it, had maybe encountered maybe some difficulties with different things, based on their body types and body shapes. And so all of this, like Rebecca is taking into account, and will have notes in the pattern on how to like what to do if you encounter this problem, and think, or like and if it's too tight for you here, here's what you can do. If like a lot of people had a bit of issues, not a lot, but some people had some issues with the armhole being a bit too tight. So how do you manage that? Because obviously, like, it's not like you can just, if this were plain, you could just maybe like knit a bigger size here for your shoulders, but then go down to the next smaller size for your body if that's what you wanted to do, or like knit a size up for the sleeves if you want them a bit looser or more ease. But obviously it's trickier here because you also have the color work to account for, so you can't just increase by so many stitches, because then it's going to mess up your color work. So that was a very, very interesting pattern in that way, and I think that's going to make the final pattern something like a very good reference almost on how to like adjust things based on your size and the issues you may encounter, and taking the color work into consideration and all things like that. So I think, yeah, because there was so much talk during the test, I think it's going to make it a very good, very detailed pattern, which is great. Like I said, I made some modifications. So the color is the first one. The rate of like so you pick up stitches and then you knit the color. The rate at which you pick up stitches, as indicated in the pattern, was a bit too much for me. I think it was 2 stitches, like you pick up 2 for every 3 stitches. And to me, that was bringing the neckline too much and making it like too tight around my shoulder. Like it was really pulling it in and making it too tight around my shoulder. I have to say that my shoulders are wider than like the standard shoulder width for my bust circumference. So my shoulders are a bit wider. So it's always something that I have to think about when I do something a bit more fitted. But yeah, so picking 2 stitches for every 3 was just too much. It was bringing things too tight. There was it wasn't working. So I unraveled that, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna pick 1 stitch in every stitch, just to have like a nice, more like open neckline. And that was too much. That was way too, like, it was flaring all over the place. It was horrible. In the end, I landed on a 5 stitches for every 6. And that was great. I picked up 5 stitches for every 6 stitches, and that worked really great. The pattern also calls for like quite a deep folded neckline. I think like maybe 5 centimeters or something, which again was too much for me, like too big, too bulky, especially with my yarn. Like my yarn is quite bouncy, and so it was just like too bulky, too big. I didn't like it, so I did quite a small neckline. I think I have maybe like 3.5 centimeter, like single layer, not folded, and it works really well. It's not flaring at all anymore. I have a little bit of elastic in it at the top, but it doesn't, it's just as a safety thing, so it doesn't start flaring as I, like, the more I wear it. It's not really bringing anything in. It's just to make sure it stays in place, that's all. So I did that. And I realized when doing that, I had to, like, I knit and frogged the neckline like maybe like 3 times, which is not a big deal, right? Like, it's a neckline. It's a very small amount of knitting compared to everything else. But it was driving me nuts. I was so tired of it not working and having to try something else, knowing that it might not work. It was driving me crazy. So I will not ever become a designer, because I do not have the patience to frog everything all the time to figure out the best way to design something or to make something work. I just don't have that kind of patience. So I will not become a designer. This is what also I learned from this project, is that designing is not for me because there's too much frogging. And then the last modification that I did, or like the second, I guess, is just the sleeves. I didn't make them as long as the pattern suggests. And so I didn't really do the last decrease. So you start decreasing for the sleeves after the color work, which is really nice because then you don't have to worry about matching your pattern and decreasing at the same time and all of this. But yeah, there was like decreases where you do one decrease and then you knit so many plain rounds and then one decrease, blah blah blah. And so I didn't do the last one. So at the very last row of stockinette, it's a row of decreases for me. But then I was supposed to do another small section of stockinette and yet another decrease before doing the cuff, and that would just make the sleeves too long. So I just did the last decrease in the first row of ribbing. Just so I had the appropriate, like the stitch counts that I needed. And yeah, it worked fine for me. But that's also something that I do all the time. I never knit the sleeves to the recommended length because my arms are kind of short. So yeah, so sometimes I've done all the decreases and it's just I don't knit after the decreases as long as the pattern calls for. Sometimes it's just I kind of fudge the last decrease in that way. But it's fine. Once again, it's not a pattern thing. It's just my arms are short. My arms are short. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it. Like I said, we did a little photo shoot in Edinburgh with, I think it was 5 or 6 of us that live in and around Edinburgh. So we could come in on Sunday for about an hour to take pictures of our sweaters. With Jasmine, the professional photographer that Rebecca hires for her pattern pictures, and it was so much fun. I'd never done a photo shoot like this with a professional photographer. I was a bit nervous at first, but yeah, there was no need to be. It was amazing. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Jasmine is amazing. Like, she makes you feel so comfortable. She sort of tells you what to do as well, which is nice because I'm like, you need to tell me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my arms. I don't know where to look. I don't know, like, should I look at you? Should I smile? Should I not? Like, I was a bit nervous for, like, you know what? Relax. Just look over here. And yeah, so it was great. It was really good. I was also, like, part of what made me a bit nervous is that I was a bit worried that, like, everyone was going to be, like, staring at me while I was taking the pictures, like, while waiting for their turn, you know? And that was making me a bit nervous. But actually what happened is that, like, we each took turns with the photographer taking pictures, and while someone was taking their pictures, everyone else was just chatting and not really paying attention until it was, you know, their turn. So, and then we had some fun group pictures, and yeah, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really nice as well because there's quite a variety, so, of very different, first of all, like, colors. So it was kind of funny because Rebecca and I both had the same, not the same yarn, but the same sort of color, like green at the top and beige at the bottom. Someone did it in, like, bright, like, brown and gold and yellow, and then 2 women had it in, like, 2 shades of purple, but, like, reversed. So one had the light at the top and the other one had the dark one at the top, and that was really fun. And then Venetia of the Woolly Worker was also at the photo shoot, and she did one without the color work, so just a plain one, and that was also really nice. And it's going to be great to see what that option looks like on the pattern pictures. And also, we are all of different ages and different body types, so it's going to be it's going to be nice to have pictures on the pattern that show how the sweater looks on people of different ages and different body types. So yeah, and yeah, it was so much fun. I had such a good time. Yeah, it was great. It was really fun. So yeah, I will link, like, obviously, like, I mean, I'm sure everyone knows Rebecca, and I will link the link to Jasmine, the photographer, in the description box below, because she was great, and I think her main thing is wedding photography or, like, couples photography. So if that's something that you're interested in, like, definitely contact her because she's absolutely great. And then she does that for Rebecca. I don't know if she does, like, knitwear or things like that for other people, but yeah. Anyway, I think I've rambled quite a bit. Yeah, I've just spent 25 minutes talking about that sweater. So I'm going to move on to my second finished object. I have 4 finished objects, but the next one I'm just going to show quickly because I finished it a while ago, and I think I maybe showed it in my what I knit in 2023 video, but not on the podcast. So I'm just going to show it quickly, and these are my Advent socks. Oh, did I show it actually on my last podcast? No, I don't think I did. Anyway, if not, I'll just repeat myself. But it's my Advent socks. It's what I knit during Advent this year. It's a stripy sock, and this is what it looks like. And And yeah, I've talked about it throughout Vlogmas and everything, so I'm not going to go into details about that, but this is yarn by the Yarn Badger, and it's like a stripe a day kind of thing where all the stripes are different colors. I knit them top down. It's my usual vanilla sock with the contrasting heel, cuff and toe. The mini was provided with the Advent, and yeah, I've worn them tons. I like them. They're really fun. The experience of knitting them was really fun, and I have enough yarn to make another pair, provided that I find another mini for the contrasting bits. And yeah, that's it. That's all there is to say. So there we go. That was quick. Okay, next one is another accessory, or I guess another not garment item, and it is a pair of penny gloves that I made for myself, and this is what they look like. So these are the penny gloves by Petite Knit. I made a pair around Christmas time to gift to a friend, and I really loved them, so I was like, I need to make a pair for myself. And I knit mine out of yarn from Zakami Yarn. It's their superwash merino and Surrey alpaca silk held double in the shade Unsung Heroes. I don't know if it's a shade that they still have. I bought that yarn a couple of years ago. I originally knit a hat with it. The hat was too big. I never wore it, so I frogged it and I used it to make the penny gloves. And I'm really happy with them. They're really comfy, really cozy, really soft. And the yarn that I still have a bunch of yarn left over. I'm going to make a matching hat as part of our winter set knit along. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm realizing now that you can see, maybe, I don't know if you can see, that there's a line just because of like blocking them flat. And I know it happens like on my jumpers as well a lot of the time. And the way I've been getting rid of that is that I just like lay them flat the other way and just run my steamer over it, and it just smoothes the line. I need to do it for these. I bought last year, I don't remember, maybe in the summer or something. I finally bought a steamer, and it's been like, I think it's been my best like knitting tool acquisition of the last year, because it's just like now I use it all the time to like block my knits halfway or like throughout the project to make sure like the yoke is good and like check the length before doing the ribbing and all that. And I love it. And you just steam it and in 5 minutes it's dry and you can keep working on it. So yeah, I love it. It's brilliant. I can link the one that I have in the description if you want. It's like a Tefal, I want to say. I don't know how you pronounce it in English, but yeah, it's brilliant and it wasn't very expensive. But yeah, so these are my penny gloves, and I started knitting them on 3mm needles because this is what I used for the previous pair that I did. However, I found that the fabric was a bit loose and like it was not as snug all around my arm as I wanted to, so I unraveled that and went down to 2.5 to make them more fitted and also more dense, and that's been great. And yeah, I didn't make any modification to the pattern. I find that that's a bit of the like the nature of the pattern, right, where like it rolls a bit, but if you block them flat with like I put like pins in it, then it doesn't roll nearly as much. The sun is coming out, so I don't know what it's gonna do to the lighting, but you know, it is what it is. I don't have any control over the sun. So yeah, it is very, again, not much to say. I really love them. I want to make another pair in maybe like this is nice, like bright red. I like it, but I would like to make a pair in maybe something more neutral that would go with more of what I have, like maybe a beige. I'm looking through at my yarn here, like I have browns and beiges that I could use for that. So yeah, but I love it. I would definitely recommend this pattern. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows the penny gloves and many people have knit them, but they're also really, really great for gifts. So really quick, and like it's not like a sock where you don't really know, like you don't always know the person's shoe size or something like that, but yeah, I think everybody can find a use for a nice pair of fingerless mittens. So yes, I'm going much faster through the others because there's not as much to say as for the sweater. And then, so moving on to, my last finished object, which I finished last night, literally. They're still very slightly damp, but it's all right. And it is a pair of mittens for Kyle. It looks like this. And this is the, what is it called? Oh shoot, what is it? Oh, the World's Simplest Mittens by Tin Can Knits. It is a free pattern, and I used the yarn, I'm sure if you've been here a little while, you know this yarn. It is the J.C. Rennie Chunky Aran Lamb's Wool in the shade Blueberry. I bought a big cone for that. The color is beautiful. I bought a big cone of that in 2022. Yep, in 2022 to make a single malt for Kyle, which he wears all the time. Like, it's not my color. I don't really wear purple, but it suits him really, really well. And so I made that. I had plenty of yarn left over, so I made him a hat. I still had plenty of yarn left over, so now I've made him the mittens. I still have probably about 70 grams left, but I just put it away and I don't want to see this yarn anymore. I'm kind of sick of it now. But yeah, this was really fun. It was also very interesting in terms of picking the right size, because Kyle has quite big hands, and so he's really tall, so and the largest size in this pattern, or in all the mitten patterns that I've seen, is just still too small for him. So basically on this specific pattern, it works for all kinds of gauges, and so you have fingering, DK, Aran, and Chunky, I think, and then for each you have 4 different sizes, or maybe more. And so this is Aran weight. The thing is that I think for the largest size for Aran weight was 40 stitches around, and that was just not enough. So I tried with 48, that was too big, so I did 44. Obviously, there was no instruction for the 44 stitches around in the Aran weight gauge category, but there was in the DK category, one of the sizes was on 44 stitches, cast on 44 stitches and work with that. And so that's what I did. I just followed the instruction for the 44 stitches, size, just at a bigger gauge than what the pattern, than how the pattern did it, and it worked just fine. And I had him try it on very often just to get the length right. It's the same for the thumb, and I'm really pleased with how they came out. I have the other one here, and yeah, they're very nice. They're very simple. He likes them a lot, and yeah, because it was the first time I was making him mittens. I don't have a ton of experience making mittens. I wasn't really sure about a lot of things. I needed him to try it a lot. So what I also did is that instead of, you're supposed to cast on the ribbing, do a bit of ribbing, and then do the mitten, I decided to do a provisional crochet cast on at the base of the hand, knit all the stockinette bit, and then come back and do the ribbing in reverse, so I can do it however long he wanted it, and also I could do a nice sewn bind off at the end. And so yeah, that's what I did. It worked out really well, and I think it's a nice way to make mittens, so you can just adjust the cuff to whatever length you want afterwards, once you know how the hand is actually fitting. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it. I'm gonna leave it to dry. I was a bit concerned that maybe that bit here would be a bit too wide. So he's gonna try them on, he's gonna wear them a bit and see how it is, and if it needs to be a bit more cinched in, then I'll just add elastic inside. And that will be just fine. And I'm really excited that I got them finished, because next weekend, this weekend, we're going to a hockey game. So next week is my birthday, and as present, Kyle got us ticket to a hockey game this coming weekend, and so he'll have those to wear in ice rink, ice arena, or whatever it's called, because it tends to be cold in there. So yeah, it's been really fun. But yeah, it's been, I think, mittens for him, because he's got such he's got larger hands than most of the patterns offer. It's been a bit of a struggle because my original plan for him was to make him a pair of cell boot mittens. We had, I think I talked about it in my plans for 2024 video, and we had picked a pattern and we had the yarn, and I cast it on the largest size. It was like, I was using Rama Finoul, which is a sport weight, and I was knitting on 3.75, which was the largest option. And I think the largest you can go using a single strand of that yarn. And it was just too tight. Like, he could put it on, but it would pull the color work like sideways, and it was just not working. And I can't figure out, I don't have enough experience knitting mittens and knitting color work to be able to figure out how to adjust for that. I couldn't go up a needle size, I felt, because the stitches would have been too loose. It would not have gone well, which it's kind of a shame because that would have been the easiest way for me to deal with the size issue. But so I couldn't go up a needle size. What I was thinking is that on the side, like, it's kind of like you have a color work on the inside of the hen, and then another nice color work on the back of the hen, and then on each side you had like a few lines of, like, it was blue and white, so like it was maybe 5, and I was like, maybe I should just add more stitches here, you know, just to get a bit more space. The thing is that it's not a mitten, it's not one of those mittens where like the thumb just comes out like this. It's a mitten where the thumb is like cast on, like lays here. And so I was worried that if I cast on more stitches here on that like side of the hen, it would like move the thumb to in the middle, that it would, in the middle of the hen, that it just wouldn't fit. So yeah, I don't really know what to do. A friend recommended that I just go up needle sizes and then hold each strand with something else, like a lace, or even like hold it double. So that's an option. But yeah, if you have any ideas on how, like, a recommendation on how to adjust colorwork mittens that way, please let me know. Because then again, I was worried. I was like, well, I'm already struggling with the circumference of that mitten, and then it's probably, like, it is likely that the length of the mitten as per pattern is going to be too short. So how do I modify the color work to make it longer? Where can I add, I don't know, like space in between the motifs, or I don't know. It was too much. I don't have enough experience knitting either mitten or color work to be able to figure this out. So I was like, you know what, I'm sorry, I don't think I can make these for you right now. I'll make you those instead. And he's very happy. Like, he doesn't mind at all. He's very happy with whatever I knit him. So yeah, that's what it is. I was really sad, but he doesn't mind. So, and I'm over it now. So yeah. All right. I'm just gonna have a quick drink, and then we're gonna move on to works in progress. I only have one, so hopefully it's not gonna take forever. Yeah, 40 minutes. Yeah, I have one work in progress, but it's a very cool one. It's very exciting. All right, works in progress. I have one, like I just said, and it is a sweater, and it is so nice. I love it so much. It is the Celeste sweater by Petite Knit. I've done only the yoke right now. I need to do, next is to do the short rows, because the short rows are after the color work, and then just like knit stockinette for a long time to do the body and the sleeves. But this is what my yoke looks like. It's amazing. I love it so much. It was so much fun to knit. Definitely would recommend this pattern as a first time colorwork pattern if you want to do like a colorwork yoke sweater, because it's knit in the round the whole time. I guess you put a little bit for the short rows, but that comes after. It's not in the colorwork at all. And if you look, like, there's never really long sections of just one color. So you never have to catch floats at all. And yeah, it's been so much fun. So let me talk about the yarn. So I am using pure Gynt, which is what the pattern recommends. It's yarn that I bought when I was in Norway, although you can find pure Gynt quite easily in the UK. And so I have, let me see. So this is the color that I'm using for like the main color, the body, and there's a little bit of it in the colorwork as well. This is like a plain beige, it's 2511. And then these are my four colors for the colorwork. And so the dark blue is 6581, I want to say. The light blue is 8051. The beige is 2710, and the brown is 3070. Let me see. I think these, is that a petite knit color? Right, okay, so these two are petite knit colors and these two are not. And then the beige is the main, the main color is a petite knit color as well. Although I'm not sure it makes much of a difference. I think if you find pure Gynt in a shop, they have all those colors whether they're petite knit or not. And yeah, I haven't worn it obviously because it's not finished, but so far I'm really enjoying pure Gynt. I know some people say it's a bit scratchy or it's more for like outerwear or things like that, but I think I'll be just fine with it. I don't find it scratchy at all. It's very nice and bouncy. Yeah, it's really lovely. I really like it. I can't wait to wear it and see how it actually feels. I wove in all my ends. It just took me quite a while, but there's quite a bit of ends because of color work. But I'm very happy. I sat down in front of an episode of Murder, She Wrote and wove all the ends, and that was quite a good time. What did I do? Let me see. I'm making size small, which is the third size. Petite Knit recently has been adding extra small size to her pattern, so I'm doing the size small. I didn't swatch because I have knit enough Petite Knit patterns that I know that I get gauge, like same as her. And so far it's good, like my gauge is fine. So I'm just using whatever needle sizes she recommends and it works great for me. I made so far 2 modifications. The first one is the collar at the top. So you are supposed to do a Italian cast on and then knit the collar like from the top down and then go into the color work. I'm sorry, but the Italian cast on is just a faff. Like it's such a faff. And I didn't want to do it. I don't have the patience for it. I know it's beautiful, like I will not deny that, it's absolutely stunning, but I don't know, it's just too much of a fact for me. So what I did, I kind of still wanted like that nice edge at the top. I could have just done like a regular like German twisted cast on and then gone down, which I've done a lot of time. I know some people on Ravelry have done that as well, it's just fine, but I kind of wanted that nice like edge of, you know, where the stitches look like they go over to the other side, and I don't know, like that beautiful edge. So what I did is that I did like for the mittens previously, I did a crochet provisional cast on, like here, knit the collar up, did a sewn bind off, so you still have like the nice edge, and then unpicked my provisional cast on and then went down to knit the yoke. So arguably that is also a faff, but it is one that I am familiar with. I don't mind doing the crochet cast on. I think it's quite nice and quite quick, and yeah, I was happy to do that. To me it was much less of a hassle than doing the Italian cast on, so that's what I did. It's an option if you want to do the same, but you know, like just do whatever you like. And then for the colors, obviously I'm not using the colors in the pattern. I used the color palette that I'm using is inspired by Florence of Handmade by Florence, just a bit like into warmer tones than, like she used quite like cool tones or neutrals, and I like warmer colors, so I just picked like warmer shades of the kind of color palette that she used. And I also did a bit of modification. So what I really like about this pattern is that the colorwork chart, you have it with the colors as in the pattern. So the version that she has in the pattern is her dark brown version with like, I think there's like beige and a bit of lilac and whatever in the color work. So you have that with the colors in, but then you also have the chart in black and white, where instead of having colors, you have a little symbol that tells you like, this is color 1, this is color 2, this is color 3. And I really like that because I was able to go in and then color in with the colors that I am using, so that the chart was gonna look like my sweater. Like I would use like dark brown, beige, dark blue, light blue, and just color in the little like squares. And that was great. I love it when designers offer that option where you can just color in your own colors, and that make the chart so much easier to follow, because if it's the chart provided in the color that they used, and you constantly have to remind yourself, okay, their brown is my beige, their purple is my blue, and which blue, and I don't know. I find like, yeah, I like when you can just color in your own colors. And I just did modify it a little bit at the end because in the pattern, like this section here, I have like beige and then brown. But in the pattern, it's supposed to be like the beige here, and here I even have the light beige and the like darker beige. This is supposed to be all of the light beige of the main body, and this is supposed to, the brown is supposed to be the light beige of the color work. And so I found that would just make, the contrast wouldn't be high enough, and it would just make like a band here of like a very pale color that is like the body color, the color of the body, and then have like darker colors here again. And it just felt like that last bit was kind of, I felt like it was like separated from the rest of the color work. I'll put a picture and maybe you can see, like it just makes kind of like a beige line, and I don't know, it just looked a bit off for me. So I switched around the color just for that last section, so it felt more tied together. And I'm very pleased with how it looks. And it was nice again because she had the chart in black and white. I could just go in and try and erase if it didn't work, and you know, like play around with the colors to make them as I would like. So yeah, that was really fun. And it's been so much fun to knit. I am knitting the color work on 4.5 millimeters, so it goes quite quickly. The rest is on 4 millimeter, which is a size needle that is very comfortable for me, so I think it's going to go quite quickly as well. But yeah, the color work is very, very addictive, and yeah, I did it in like 2 days or something. And it's since been on hold because my 4 millimeter needles were on the mittens, and I could have like, you know, unscrewed them and put them on here, but I really wanted to finish the mittens first. So now I'm just going to pick this up and do the short rows, and then just knit until it's done. But yeah, I have a feeling that it's going to be incredibly warm. I think this yarn is very, very warm, which is nice. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I'm in love with this knit. It's so much fun. I don't use a lot of blue, but I do like blue as a color. I do like earthy tones, and like autumnal colors are more my, like, what I get drawn to immediately. But I do like blue sometimes, especially in winter. I wear a bit more blue in winter than I do the rest of the year, but oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. So yes, I'll keep you posted, to be continued in the next episode. All right, I thought I had just this one on the needles, but I actually have another one that I'm going to show you. I've shown it to you before. It's been on the needles since September. It's a pair of socks. I cast it on in September just to have something to knit on when I'm out and about, and I decided that this was my project for when I'm out and about. The thing is, like, I'm not really out and about a lot where I can also knit. Like, usually when I'm out and about, I'm doing something and I'm not knitting. And so those socks have been, like, the progress on those socks has been so slow. I'm kind of tired of it. So I am showing the socks now and declaring that they will be done by the next episode. Now you hold me accountable. There's not much left to do on them either. So this is the yarn that I'm using. It is yarn by Woolly Mammoth Fiber Co. It is her Hearth Sock, I think in the colorway Potting Shed. And yeah, this is, okay, how are we going to do that? All right. And this is what I have. So the first stock is, I'm doing like a 2x2 rib that I plan to fold. So I'm making the cuff like super, super long. So yeah, the first sock I have gone past the heel, so I just need to make the foot, and then the second sock I'm almost at the heel. So it's not going to take me much time to finish it. I need to do it because it's kind of driving me nuts that it's not done yet. And I also want to move on to continue using my nice like no nylon non superwash sock yarn, which that is one of that. But I don't want to have like 5 million pairs of socks on the needle. So by the next podcast, these are going to be done, right? These have to be done. So, and I'm also very excited to wear them. I only have 3 pairs so far of no nylon non superwash socks, and honestly, I've worn them so much this winter, especially when it's been really, really cold, because they are, I find, considerably warmer than my superwash socks. I think, yeah, like they're considerably warmer, and when it's really, really cold, it's great. And when it gets warmer, I'll just wear my superwash socks that are not as warm. They're still warm, but not as warm. And so, yeah, I would like to have a bit more of these super warm socks. And yeah, so yeah, just, trying to hold myself accountable. All right, this is all I have in terms of works in progress. That's usually how I like to do things. I have one big project, one small project, or one project that is like mindless, stuck in it, and another project that is maybe a bit more involved. And yeah, so I'm quite happy where I am right now with my knitting. Moving on to acquisition, but first a drink of water. I have to remember to drink because then my throat gets really dry. I think the sun has gone like higher up. Maybe not. Anyway, don't have long to go. It's like it's the first time it's been sunny in God knows how long. And I guess it's not lasting because we're supposed to get snow. Okay, I'm not British, but I live in Great Britain. I live in Scotland, and so I've been here for 5 years now. So I feel like I have caught that habit of you have to talk about the weather. And yeah, so we're supposed to get snow next week, which I'm really excited about. However, a couple of weeks ago, we had been warned that we were going to get snow, blizzard, heavy snow, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. So disappointed. I just want a little bit of snow. And the whole north of Scotland has had lots of snow. Shetland has had lots of snow. Edinburgh, nothing. Not even a bit of rain. So they're saying next week we're going to have snow. Next week is my birthday. I would love to have snow on my birthday. I don't dare hope at this point because who knows what's going to happen. Anyway, moving on to the weather chat. I'm going to move on to acquisitions, and I have 2 things that I would like to show you that I have acquired, and then I have 3 things that I would very much like to get in February as sort of like little birthday presents for myself. So I think I had mentioned in my previous video that one of the things I would like to knit this year is the Levi pullover by Sari Nortland. I used to say Levi, but she's Finnish, and a friend of mine is Finnish, and she said it's Levi, so Levi. The Levi pullover by Sari Nortland. I'm going to put the photo here. Hers is in shades of grey, so dark grey, light grey, and white. I am going to do it in those yarn. There you go. So I bought the yarns already because I would like that to be a birthday cast on. So I'm going to cast it on my birthday. And this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to leave the picture here so I can show you which color I'm going to, like, how I'm going to use the colors basically. So the main color, which for her is white, is going to be this like creamy color by, it's Peruvian Highland Wool by Phil Kalana. And this is color 377. I think it's what they call the marzipan melange or something. It's very nice. I like it a lot. I've never used, believe it or not, I've never used Phil Kalana, but it's very soft. And I hear it wears really well, so it's definitely one I'm gonna use more in the future. Then I'm saying this now, but I don't have the picture, obviously, because I add it later in editing, and I don't remember how she's done the color. I think for the light gray, whatever color she's using for the neck, like the double folded neck, the turtleneck, which I think is the light gray. I'm gonna use this beautiful color, also by Filcolana Peruvian Highland Wool. It is so pretty. I love it so much. And this is color 817, which I think is something called like cinnamon maybe, cinnamon brown, something like that. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. So beautiful. And then I wanted a green for the last color, so which I think is her very dark gray. And just like in Peruvian Highland Wool, like they have beautiful colors, but their green selection is not the best. I think they only have 2 shades. One was too dark and too cool, and the other one was just a bit too bright for what I wanted. However, Pure Gynt I think is quite good, quite like fairly similar to Peruvian Highland Wool, especially in terms of gauge. So you could combine them, and so I got this color, this green, from Pure Gynt. This is, I'm gonna sneeze maybe not. This is the shade 9572, and it's been named with like words like forest green or whatever you want to call it, like different things on different websites. So I'm not going to give you like a name because it might not be the right one, but the shade is 9572. And so yeah, I'm going to use all these 3 together. I was at first, I was a bit concerned that there wouldn't be a high enough contrast between the brown and the green, but then I took the, you know how you take a picture in black and white to see the contrast, and it's fine. It's just fine. So yeah, very excited to start knitting on this. It's going to be a nice, warm, a bit like thick, cozy sweater to wear in winter. So yeah, I will show that to you in the next episode, and I will cast it on next week on my birthday. And then the second acquisition that I have is a book, which I'm really excited about. I've been looking out for this book ever since I saw it was going to be published, and it is this one, Lakeside Stitches by Ronya Acaleto. I don't know how you pronounce her name. And it is so beautiful. I love her patterns. I love her aesthetic on her, like her Instagram is so beautiful. And when I saw she was going to publish a book, I was like, I need it. And it's such a beautiful book. There's all sorts of patterns. There's jumpers, cardigans, accessories for women, for men, for kids, socks. Like, it's so good. And there's so many I want to make. I definitely want to make this one on the cover. And it's knit in Pure Gynt again, so I'm really excited. So definitely want to make this one. Let me show you some of the other ones. It just came out in January, so stores are starting to stock it if you're looking for it. Let me see. There's a very nice cable one, if I can find it. There's some hats that are very, very beautiful. The photography is also so nice, and I think she does her photos herself. Where is it? Bear with. I'm almost at the end of the book, so we're not going to be there for much longer. Oh, there it is. Let me see if I can find a photo maybe that doesn't have the... I guess this I can show because it's going to be on Ravelry anyway. It's this. Isn't this stunning? This is such a nice, like, cabled sweater, like... how can I hide this? Let's use the mitten. So I don't show you instructions, but look at that. It's so beautiful. I definitely want to make that. It would be like a labor of love, but I love it so much. And I think I have yarn that I could use for that. And yeah, there's some color work. Oh, this one also I really like. And I want to make this slip over. Very pretty. And I think this is quite like a large gauge. It's like chunky yarn. I think it's like 5 or 5.5 millimeters. So it should knit quite quickly. This one also is really, really nice. I mean, they're all really nice. And like, when I buy a magazine or a book, I always look I want there to be like 4, maybe 5 patterns that I would knit to me that would justify my purchasing the book. If there's less than that, I usually wait, because a lot of the time the patterns become available individually, like 6 months, a year, 2 years later, on Ravelry. But this, I could see myself making like pretty much all of them, which is really, really good. I'm really excited. I highly, highly recommend this book. It's beautiful. A few things that I would like to purchase very soon as little birthday treats for myself. One is the Sari Nordland book, the Softly, I think it's called. And again, it looks so nice. The patterns are so nice. There's many of them that I would knit, that I could see myself knit. So I'm definitely going to treat myself to this one. And I think Ginger Twist, my local yarn store, stocks it. So I would just go and like pop into the shop and do that. I would also like to get yarn for the Baker Scarf by Fiber Tales, which is what she released just recently, in the same colors as her. And that would be my first time using Potulopi, which I'm really excited about. I've never used Potulopi before. I've used Unspun once, but not Potulopi. So I would be really excited to try that. And also she's holding it with a strand of mohair from Isair. And if you know me, mohair is not really, really my thing. I find it a bit itchy, but I have heard so many good things about the Isair mohair, about how it's really soft and everything, that I would like to give it a try, especially when it's in a scarf like this, like a scarf/shawl, because I can wear it in a way that it's not like tight against my skin, and so not like itching as much. So I would really like to get yarn for that and try it out in the same colors as she does it. I really love that dark green. And then I'm really excited about the new 52 weeks from Lina magazine, or Lina Publishing, the 52 weeks of accessories. The patterns look so much fun, and I kind of like collecting those books. I have the 52 weeks of socks, and I have the 52 weeks of shawl, and I would like to get the 52 weeks of accessories just to add to my collection. And so I think this doesn't come out until like mid-February, but you can pre-order it from most places, so I'm definitely going to do that when February comes around. And yeah, that's all I have to say. That's the end of the acquisition. I think I've gone over pretty much everything. The shop, I don't really have much to say right now. I just did a batch of bags, so I think I will restock project bags like towards the middle to late February. There's always plenty of stitch markers available. Just because next week, or like this week and next week, is going to be, I'm going to focus on designing new things. I have a couple of yarn dyers that have asked me to design things for them, so I'm going to work on that. I also want to design new things for my own shop, so I'm going to work on that. I have this idea to make a little stitch marker set, and probably a matching bag if I can figure out how to do it, with like little cats and like balls of yarn. I think that would be really cute. This is what I'm going to be doing. And then I also have Zakami, which is like they're friends of mine. They're going down to, I think, is it Unravel at the end of February, and she's asked me for some stitch markers so she can have them. She often stocks some of my stitch markers for Yarn Festival, so I have to make a small order for her. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks. And then after that, I hope to be able to put some bags up again. I need to go and get some fabrics. The last time I went to get some fabrics, they didn't have it anymore. But they said they were expecting to receive more. So yeah, maybe at the weekend I'll go and have a look and see if they've had it, or I'll just give them a call. So yeah, I think the best way to know when I'm gonna stock things is to follow me on Instagram, because that's where I announce things usually. I'm also toying with the idea of doing a little newsletter. I don't have much to do. My life is not very interesting, that I have a lot of like stuff to write about, but I was thinking maybe doing a newsletter where I just send an email out when announcing dates, like dates of things being restocked, dates of new designs coming out. So yeah, let me know. Is that something you would be interested in? I know we're like we get so many newsletters, and I hate it because a lot of the time you're not even asking for that. Like, you buy something on a website and then you just like, every day you receive an email from them like trying to sell you stuff, and I hate that. So I'm very mindful of like sending stuff to people as well. So yeah, if I do a newsletter, I will just keep it to the bare minimum of like, I'm emailing you as and when I have something to say, like maybe once a month, probably not more than that. So yeah, let me know if you think that would be a good idea, if you would rather hear about things about my shop in a newsletter as opposed to having to check Instagram. Let me know. And yeah, other than that, life is good at the moment. Like, January was a good month. It's a very long month, everyone says so, but it's true. It feels very long, but it's been good. Like, I've had a good routine. I've figured out how to so far, like, how to find a bit more balance between my life and my work and my sort of like workouts, I guess. Like, I am someone who needs to exercise quite a bit for like I enjoy it, but mostly for my mental health. Like, it keeps anxiety at bay for me. It keeps like, and it's just like, it helps me be focused, it helps me be efficient, it makes me happy. I'm not as grumpy or anything when I exercise. And what I was doing last year is that I was like, okay, I'm going to get up, start work as early as I can so that I can stop working around like 3 or 4 and then exercise afterwards. The thing is that I never, ever, ever stopped working at 3 or 4 because I am terrible at stopping work in the middle of a task. And so I was constantly being like, I'm just going to finish this, I'm just going to finish this. And then it was 6 o'clock, it was too late, and yeah. So what I've been doing so far in January is that I have decided, instead of starting work really early, to prioritize exercising in the morning and start work at 10. And that means that in the morning I have set aside an hour for exercising, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's going for a run, whether it's doing a bit of yoga at home, it doesn't matter. But I know that every morning I have an hour dedicated to that, and I use the whole hour. It doesn't matter, it's just there. And that has been wonderful. I've been able to stick to that. I've been able to exercise a bit every day, and it's done wonders. And it turns out that I am not working any less. Even though I start work about an hour and a half later than I used to, I am a lot more efficient. And I think the exercising before is like helping me do that, is helping me feel focused, and it's like gives me energy. And so I have been able to work from like 10 in the morning until 4, 5:30. And that's been absolutely wonderful. So I'm very happy with that, and I hope I can stick with it throughout the year, because that's been great for me. So yeah, and then I've had a bit more time for my knitting, and yeah, so far so good this year. So far so good. Who knows what's going to happen in the next few months, but so far so good, and I'm really happy. So yeah. This is where I'm going to leave you, because I'm just rambling about probably things that you don't care about. So this is where I'm going to leave you. I hope you've had a good start of the year so far. If not, I wish you all the best for the rest of the year. And yeah, thank you for watching. Happy knitting. I will see you in the next one. Bye.